do you think Tezani was stealing so much?
Na this na Nigeria. But of us native.
This is how the economy keeps moving.
I've asked the question to many researchers about whether people who steal on such a grand level are sociopathic in some way.
It's a psychological thing, which is why I think we all need to go to therapy, right? It's a psychological thing of feeling like when I need it, I wouldn't have it. But you're not even thinking, okay, when I need it, I have the capacity to get it. People steal mind-boggling amounts, keep cash in ridiculous places, create a house for it, a hut with a AC, all sorts of ridiculous things, bury it in the ground, put it in tombs, because they think when I need it, I would not have it.
Our conception of a public wealth or public good or public space is for people to just say, look, if I don't take all of this now, maybe I might be poor for life or I might never have this opportunity again. So there's a lot of that type of stealing, which is, it's a frenzy.
You are a Lagosian. I don't know if it's in the air or something in the water, but there is something about this city that makes you live on the edge.
Just after Abacha, and then our biggest case really, and the most consuming case was that of James Abori, really. So that was the one that took a lot of resources and a lot of effort, and it was an important case. And I say that because even now, whenever I go to Nigeria and I talk to people and say to them, oh yeah, you know, my team, it wasn't me, it was actually my team, my amazing team. My team investigated this case. Literally, people want to almost hug you and go thank you because it was so important, because they were just looking up going, all our politicians are stealing everything from us and ruining our future.
What we are witnessing now is impunity. There's corruption. In those days, people want to take a bribe, they will go inside a corner. They will, hide it. I spoke with a former governor who said he started his career in Lagos after his NYSC in the 70s, that he was, I think he's an architect or something, he will go with a proposal to a government agency and they will say, we are taking 10%. But today, you go with a proposal to a government agency, they will collect it, they have a company already that they will now award it to. Man, as far as they have stolen your idea, they're also not going to execute the contract.
One of the people who we talk about as probably the most corrupt person back there was maybe Okotie-Eboh. He was very, very flamboyant, but Okotie-Eboh worked hard. There's some books I've read about, in that First Republic, and, where people say, oh, they love dealing with Okotie-Eboh because you knew what it was 10%, but he wasn't just taking money out of nothing. He was actually, you were going to do the work and you just knew that, as long as you were serious about what you wanted to do, you just factor in his 10% and the thing will get done. So definitely that corruption, probably better than today. Again, it is unfortunate that we are now in a situation whereby we can long for a certain type of corruption. But
so you can see that it's not impunity.
There must be some psychological check on some of the public office holders.
Kano Anti-Graft Agency probes Ganduje's dollar bribery video. Clips published by Daily Nigerian trended on social media in 2017 and allegedly showed Ganduje receiving bundles of dollar notes and stuffing them inside his flowing dress known as Babariga.
Ganduje did not face, nobody has come to say that, oh, he gave him the news. It's only that a reporter alleged that he saw him and even published things that, oh, he collected the money and put him there. But that is Nigeria for you sometimes. When allegations are made, like the frustration that you talked about earlier, reporters will do so many stories, and yet the government that is supposed to act on the story is not acting on it.
Sadia, that is the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, I think that's what her ministry was created, she was in the Refugee Commission. She was the head of the Refugee Commission when Saudi Arabia will bring some dates to Nigeria and those dates instead of to giving to people in the IDP camps. I mean, those are supposed to be the most vulnerable amongst us. There was a lot of corruption, and they ended up being sold. And the ambassador to Nigeria from Saudi Arabia would go to the mosque and saw the dates that were not supposed to be sold, being sold there. And it raised a whole lot to the extent that the then acting president, Yemi Osibanjo, had to apologize. The government, Nigerian government, apologized to the Saudi government. And that same person was now promoted to be minister.
So man in his nature wants to assert himself, want to find out more, want to discover more. So that is the greed that pushes man to do everything.
I interviewed the former governor once who said that there was the corruption of need and corruption of greed. And so for someone like Diezani, you know, you could clearly tell she didn't need anything, she didn't lack anything. So it would have to be the corruption of greed.
We act as if greed is something external to human nature. There's probably a gene for greed that we will discover someday.
It is that same greed that leaders exhibit when they see comfort, when they see perquisite of office, when they see the panifera of office that surround them. So that is what the primitive societies like Nigeria still embark upon, that you call corruption.
You took like several $100 million to several $1 billion out of your country.
Yeah.
That's not hunger. That's not, I'm taking care of my family. That is obsessive greed. And greed at the expense of your people.
I don't see any other reason than greed. How many shoes can one person wear? So much money that you made over time. How many lives do you want to live to enjoy all those things?
Had fourth or fifth generation, if they didn't do anything all their life, will not finish spending those money. So why would one keep taking and taking and keeping? What would one do with all of those?
This is somebody that worked with Shell, had at least, if not the kind of money she saw as a minister, had a measure of comfortability. This was a wife of a senior military officer. And you're shocked to see how that level of avarice got into her, and it was almost becoming like a madness.
Oh, you are rich, you know, you were born into a rich family, you're married to one of Nigeria's most decorated military men. So why are you stealing money? Why are you embezzling money?
I mean, it comes down to money buys power and keeps you in office. In African countries, a lot of that money is given to patronage. That keeps you, I've got to spread the money around. So yes, I took 4.8 billion, but I didn't get it all. I had to pay half of these people to support me and keep me in office.
Yeah. There's nothing cultural about corruption in African societies. What has happened is that there's an alienation of the systems and institutions of governance from the people.
The concept of whether that money that is being spent is seen as money for the public good, or is just seen as something that has been extracted from the ground and should just be shared and distributed. I think that that's an interesting conversation to have about how do we see this money? Whose money is it? Whose money are they stealing? Is it your money?
Is it your money?
A lot of monies were being given to delegates. How much did you give to your own delegates?
I gave them anointing oil.
For mobilization?
I gave them anointing oil and it did the magic.
Why is this case stalled? Why would you think?
Most people don't even know where she is. Like somebody, I spoke to somebody recently and they were like, she's moved house, but they don't know where she is.
You know, people were seeing Diezani out in St. John's Wood in the shops. From the sightings that have been made, she seems to be living a pretty free life.
A couple of people have told me that someone saw her at this really posh salon in West or East London, right? Someone saw her shopping in Shepherd's Bush in London. People just see her popping up somewhere.
Well done. Good day. You're Nigerian, Abi? Yes. Can I ask you a question? Sorry. I'm trying to find this person, this woman. You know her, right?
I don't know her.
Oh, I'm told she comes to the shop a lot. This is Nigerian production. Good afternoon, ma.
Yes, how can I help?
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to find her. She's a Nigerian politician. My name is
never
Sarah.
seen
I'm a
her
journalist. Well, you know her.
I know her, but she never comes to my shop. She always shop in the market.
Inside the market?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know the name of the shop in the market,
I
ma'am?
don't know, darling.
I was wondering whether you recognize her.
Yes.
You do?
Yes, she is our client.
Okay. And I'm trying to find her.
But I don't know where is she.
Okay, but you recognize
Sometimes
her.
she comes here, yes.
Okay, do you know what days she comes? I mean, I could come to talk to her here. You don't know? Okay, do you remember the last time she came? Hi, good day. She is pretty popular.
She was working here. She had a hat. The nail, she was terrible. But she won a mouse or
Sorry, what?
once in a mouse come.
Once
but
in a
we
month?
don't know which
Oh.
day.
Is it possible for me to take your card and whenever you see her, you let me know so that calm down? You don't have
No,
to.
sorry. What do you want? What do you want?
Okay, so she's very popular. She's a Nigerian government official. Yes, and I'd like to talk to her in person. So you wouldn't be getting into trouble. You just let me know when she's here. I'll talk to her directly. I'm not asking you for anything.
You can give us number. If I see her, give me your number to her.
To
Just
her?
that's it.
Actually, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah?
Thank you.
It's better
Do you
to
have a
be-
pen? Did she go back to Nigeria? No offense, but can I ask? I thought her passport was with the UK government.
I don't know.
The specifics.
No. Her passport.
Sorry. This is Madame D's house, right? Hi, good morning. Yes. This is Home Affairs.
What for?
I want to make some inquiries about a case investigation of a foreign politician. Is this the right place?
Home office. Do you have an appointment?
No, I don't. Do I need an appointment?
Yeah, you need an appointment. Good.
Okay, how can I get one? Can I walk into the reception and
No,
make one?
they won't give you an appointment. You need to be in contact with somebody already. And
Okay.
that person will invite you because this is not a public building where people just come in.
Okay. Well, can I go to the front desk and get contact? There's a foreign politician, the Home Affairs, NCA, all involved in it. So I'm trying to go inside and get more information.
Who told you you have to come here?
There's an ongoing investigation I'd like to make inquiries about. No. I want to make inquiries. I don't have a specific contact. I just know it's under Ministry of Justice. It's about a foreign politician. Okay, is there anyone I can speak to? Yeah.
I do not give any information to anyone regarding cases, other than the person that's involved. You have to contact the Met. Not online.
So I'd have to contact.
We can't give you any information regarding people.
So I'm here to ask about the status of an ongoing investigation into a Nigerian politician.
Yes.
Former petroleum minister.
You need to
I'll give you a number to contact. You need to contact them. Correct. You contact them on this number.
Okay.
They'll be able to help you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Can I do that here?
No, you have to do it outside.
I have to do it outside. Okay.
But why has it been so difficult for the UK to either prosecute her or extradite her? Why were they so resistant to all our efforts to get factual updates on her case? Has there been a secret settlement? Is it her high-level connections? Is she so powerful that even the UK cannot touch her? Is she being set up to return and run for office?
Boxes and boxes and boxes of dossiers about what Diezani had been doing as oil minister, yet linking her to the money laundering and the properties in London. Yet, in 7 years, not one charge has been brought against her.
Diezani has been under investigation in the UK for longer than I have been a reporter.
The Metropolitan Police weren't on the record. They won't even admit that they've taken her passport. They won't even admit they've seized $100,000 from her. So it's almost like it's a non-case. The case doesn't exist.
She still hasn't been charged. She's never ever been charged here in the United Kingdom, as far as I'm aware. They may not have got all the evidence that they wanted to. There could be any number of reasons, but it does seem very bizarre. It's very odd.
I believe the UK government did not do well at all with that case. I don't think they had demonstrated honesty and willingness to help.
Or at the very least, send her back to Nigeria where she could face justice there.
Please help us put pressure on the international community to return her, to extradite her back.
But it wasn't their investigation. It was a UK-led investigation. The UK started the criminal investigation, and she'd fight the extradition, and it would just mess things up.
If you want to take a really conspiratorial view, you might say that certainly under the Buhari administration, that it was in no one's interest that anything happened to her. She just should be kept out of the country.
Interesting that the UK, that their former prime minister said we are fantastically corrupt, is perhaps the country where perhaps one of the most wanted Nigerian is actually staying.
The question is, how many houses are there in the UK owned by Nigerian politicians over these years? How many gardens? How many mansions? Plenty of them.
The UK is not only protecting her, they're also allowing her to spend some of those looted funds.
Do I think the West enable corruption in Nigeria? Yes. They are the ones who give enabling environment for people to steal our money and bring it into their country and keep it there and invest it.
The US is a haven for corruption because the money often comes back here. The US dollar is the reserve currency of the world.
The US dollar is a very strong international currency, so about 80 to 90% of money that is illicit movements of money are in US dollars.
You've got all these politicians going, we'll park it in London, we'll drive the Range Rovers, we'll send our kids to private school, we'll land our private jets at Farnborough, or enjoy the spoils of our labour in lovely London.
The US financial system is relatively secure. The real estate market is very strong. So if you are looking to park assets, if you will, legal or otherwise, the United States is an attractive destination.
Where else is she going to go?
Uganda, Rwanda.
Why would Diezani go to Uganda? As beautiful as Uganda is, as beautiful as Rwanda is, it's not London and it's not the lifestyle that Diezani likes to live.
Government officials will say, well, why should we stop the money coming in? We want it. And my answer is always the same, and it's true here in the US as well, which is you may want the money, but you might not want the people who come with it.
Ibori's case is an interesting one in the sense that he somehow managed to get caught abroad, outside of Nigeria. He had been tried for the same thing in Nigeria, nothing happened, but what really got him was the fact that he tried to corrupt the Metropolitan Police here, and they felt that this was an existential threat. A serious reputational damage could be done to us by the fact that some rich Nigerian politician came here and was able to bribe officers and all that, so they had to do something about it.
So-called Nigerian corruption that you hear so much about is really not Nigerian corruption, it's British corruption, it's American corruption. This is corruption done for the benefit of, largely, of British companies, facilitated by British bankers, British estate agents.
The reality is, whenever you look at these cases, particularly sort of Nigerian corruption cases, there'll be a footprint in London and there'll be a footprint in the US. There always is.
They know how to trace this money. They know where this money is going. For some of those countries, they've served as safe havens for our politicians to hide money.
London is rightly called the money laundering capital of the world. We have terrible anti-money laundering laws. We have many banks who have been happy to turn blind eyes to grand corruption.
While Abacha's money is being returned to Nigeria, yet still more Nigerians are taking monies to some of these places.
Money just don't develop wings from Lagos to the UK to buy houses. They must have gone through the banking system to get there. How come we don't know the banks?
On one hand, we do a really good job at helping our foreign partners recover looted assets. But on the same token, look at how much dirty money has been brought into the United States real estate market.
The West and its banks and its terrible anti-money laundering rules has allowed the global South to be robbed of its natural resources with no accountability.
It's certainly not just the West. I think it's everywhere, which is the role of so-called professional gatekeepers, lawyers, bankers, real estate agents, others who either knowing or perhaps more often turn a blind eye.
Dubai is, the destination of choice now. I'm like, before I left the bureau, I'm like, no, forget Switzerland. Dubai is the new Switzerland. When you're looking at dirty money moving into the country, was it 800 properties valued at $400 million belonging to Nigerian political elites in Dubai.
There are quite a number of properties by politically exposed persons that are acquired through illicit means in the UK, in the US, and the UAE. And for that reason, many of the agencies are not true to many of their laws and what is professed.
It was the National Crime Agency that not only arrested Madueke, but seized several of the properties in London and conducted a phenomenal investigation. Who brought the case against James Abori? It was the UK. So where a lot of dirty money is moving in and through the UK, they've also been doing an excellent job at trying to rectify that situation and go after corrupt money coming into their country.
I think that there has to be some level of honesty in the way that this conversation is had.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm calling because I'd like to follow up on the status of an ongoing investigation into a Nigerian politician, Diezani Alison Madueke, the former petroleum minister who was arrested in 2015 and taken to Charing Cross Police Station.
Sure. Is this an ongoing, is it ongoing as an investigation or is it an ongoing court case?
Yes, it is. She was arrested in 2015. So I am trying to find out the status of that. Yeah,
so we wouldn't have the status of any ongoing investigation. You'd have to either go directly to the court or to the police, depending on where it's at in its investigative state. But we don't hold information on individual cases.
Okay. Is it okay if I get your email address if I have to ask all the information in a couple of days? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. You can. Yeah, you can send it. I mean, again, we won't be able to give you access to anything particularly because we don't hold it. But you're very welcome to take my address.
Thank you, Anna.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks very much.
The former president of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, Diezani Alison Madueke, has been charged with bribery offences relating to her time as Nigeria's oil minister. And that's according to the United Kingdom National Crime Agency.
On the run from Nigeria, chased after by America, hiding in London. The once most powerful woman in all of West Africa finds herself ridiculed, cornered, wanted.
People who are battling cancer or those who have lost their loved ones to this medical condition understand what I'm going through at this time. This is what makes me ponder the cold-heartedness of those who will go to any length to defame and destroy in the name of propaganda. What happened? What happened to our shared humanity?
But to be honest, most Nigerians don't want to hear anything she has to say, because we've heard the story before.
One of the things that we've seen constantly is that Nigerians, when they are being brought to book and they are being prosecuted, they develop all sorts of medical cases, issues, illnesses. We also saw Diezani, that story coming out, that she's dealing with cancer and all of that.
Diezani did have cancer, and hopefully now Diezani's in remission.
We can sympathize with her for having cancer and all of that, but now, thankfully she's fine. Now I think one day she should come and tell and answer to the Nigerian legal system how she handled our Commonwealth. I think we should not be sentimental about it.
Empathy and accountability are two different things. Okay, fine, yeah, if you're dealing with cancer or any medical issue, we feel it, we get you. But you need to pay the price of what you did.
She has always been a strategic woman. So if she does have cancer, may God heal her. But I think that she used it. People do that all the time, use their weaknesses to project. It's possibly not a lie, but it's also not the entire truth.
If anything happens to me, the Inspector General of Police to be held accountable.
We wish her well enough to come back to Nigeria to clear her name.
Even if she manages to be free, posterity will not set her free, because she really did a lot to Nigerians.
Maybe she's innocent.
Well, innocent of what?
The fact that she has not been indicted by any court of law in any of those 4 countries seems to buttress my point that this is a woman who fears God and who meant every promise she made that she would never steal while in office, and who has also kept her side of the bargain that, God, I just want to serve you because you're giving me so many privileges.
So one side of it is that there might be people in Nigeria who are saying one thing publicly and then behind the scenes are just trying to, they're not cooperating.
There was a political settlement. Jonathan met Buhari and told him to leave her alone. Jonathan didn't even fight for his own wife under Buhari, but he fought for Diezani. He said, everything she did, I approved. I signed. It looked like EFCC was about to arrest Jonathan. Then somebody spoke to the boys in Niger Delta, and oil stopped flowing immediately. Everybody got the message. They left Diezani alone.
The EFCC can be incredibly sloppy, and just incompetent. It will not surprise me at all if they listed things that did not belong to her, and they lose a lot of cases because of this. In the sense that, because by the time it gets to court and then they've not done their homework on getting the proper evidence and that sort of thing, and then when it gets to court, the whole thing just falls apart.
No, Diezani almost all with it. She went with all the directors. Most of Momo, Okulo, most of them, they are with her now in London. So she isn't alone actually. We went after the people who she front for. There is a lot of money involved.
Magu will lose canon. He lose canon. He followed in the footsteps of Nuhu Ribadu, who was also a media person. He did every case in the media, the arrest, the interrogation, the everything in the media.
You know, it's a bit pathetic, really. It's frustrating because Maggie was jumping up and down and saying silly things and being a bit pathetic about it, or we hadn't done any work on it, really. Hadn't done anything to try and contribute to it other than sit in press conferences and be noisy.
They have not taken her to court. And this is 5 years. We are in the 5th year. Why should we be investigating one matter for 5 years? And it's a straightforward case. You know, it's a financial crime investigation. It's not a murder case. That's really very good. This is a straightforward case. If you don't have any evidence, sufficient evidence to establish any offense, bring her back. We have more than enough evidence to take her to. I don't know why they are protecting her. Really sad. Let her come back to Nigeria.
There was an event a number of years ago in one of my investigations which involved him, and he knows it. And he can never, ever look me in the eye.
I'm uncomfortable at how many sources were willing to expose her. Because you cannot tell me that in the entire Nigerian public sector, that this woman is the only one who is stealing money, even to the degree that she's being accused of.
Every other person who held that office before her awarded to someone, used their discretion, abused their discretionary powers. So maybe it's because she's a woman, But there wasn't anything in my mind that was special. She wasn't any more corrupt than those before and after her.
They never tend to even stop to think what the things they're saying will do to her family. There were allegations that, they must have been into it together, herself and her husband, he's untouchable. But you needed to have seen and spoken with Mrs. Alison Madueke when one of her children, Ugona, I think, who was into the entertainment industry at the time and had a video on the internet. She was like every other village woman. Oh, my son, no, they want to ruin his reputation, no. Kunle is not like that, oh, this is the real story. And I was like, for crying out loud, this is the Petroleum Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But she let all of that go when it comes to her husband, when it comes to her children. Diezani Alison Madueke, like her name, would look before she leapt. A woman who, till over 40, didn't have a husband. She will now eventually get married and want to throw all that away to a scandal. Not anyone who's that intelligent. They sleep around for money, they sleep around for influence. She already had it.
The big players of the oil sector are men. And I think it rattled them when this woman was brought in to work in that sector.
I had never once seen her wear any clothes to accentuate any part of her body. So why would she go and buy a bra to hang somewhere? People come up with all of this, but this is nothing like Alison Madueke.
In all the histories of forfeitures and seizures, have you seen a single enforcement agency enumerate a man's undergarments as part of the seizures? What is the justification for naming a woman's undergarments? Are there, ethnic elements to Diezani's overexposure? If she were, from another ethnic group that had tentacles in the positions of power, in those subdivisions, do you think that she would have been this exposed?
No Ijaw man in this government. No Ijaw man have oil block. No Ijaw man lift oil.
Which Ijaw woman is controlling the petroleum?
Which one? What Lookman and Ijaw man?
No.
Is Lookman and Ijaw man?
No.
Jibril Amin and Ijaw man?
No.
Ribadu Buhari Ijaw man?
Okay, so
these were petroleum ministers.
We're talking about
who are Hausas or Fulani.
But she fought back. She fought back hard.
We have been written to by a lawyer to say that certain stories we publish about her should be taken down or will be sued. So she's actually trying to fight back.
Only in January
I've seen Diezani go to court to reclaim some of our forfeited property. Why? Because she has believed that she has gotten away with it.
I was in London, right? Tried to find you at the salon, but I've also gone to the NCA.
How did you even know that? I go there not all the time, that's the thing.
I'm a journalist, man. I find out stuff for a living, man. I find out.
I went like a month later, because I don't go there all the time,
Yeah.
So I can be Ben Bruce, but okay.
That's true.
I actually thought it was a woman. The name sounds like a lady I knew, a while back. We were a bit confused because the lady who took this thing wasn't there that day when I popped in.
Okay.
You understand? So the person giving it to me seemed a little confused. They're Chinese and don't speak. She doesn't speak English very well. The one who gave it to me.
That's true. That's true.
I thought it was a woman. If they said a man, I wouldn't have. If I knew it was a man, I wouldn't have called back in the first place. Just being careful. The press would tend to always put one in the worst of lights, whereas no court has yet found one guilty of anything because. It's either you're coming from a constructive perspective about the situation with the Nigerian oil sector, or you're coming from a point where you are talking about, where you're trying to pull people down. It's one of the two. It doesn't really matter whether I talk or not. Whatever wants to be said will be said, as I have seen. In the end of the day, I will talk myself in my own way to whoever I want to talk to, or directly. And I'm sure a lot of people will be listening. Given all that has happened in the last few years, I mean, it is quite clear that I haven't been charged anyway, including here.
So why haven't you been charged? Okay. Why haven't you been charged?
I wasn't guilty. They cannot find you. You cannot be charged if you don't have. I mean, you tell me you're a journalist. Why haven't I been charged?
I'm a journalist, not a legal expert, and you clearly you have the facts of your case.
You can figure that one out. It's fairly simple. I really hate it when organizations, go after people. It's like everybody goes after the person, so it's like kick the person when they're down. Meanwhile, nobody has actually prosecuted you.
Okay.
Nobody.
Okay.
Because there's nobody that can find anything that I stole from government because I didn't steal.
Okay, can I
steal from the government? I steal from any individual. So the lawyers will have to work on this because clearly what you guys say on one hand is not what happens.
Can I say something?
You've had some really negative things on me, and I'm not in the mood to, let me fight my case in the court.
The last time she was heard in public was in the 2020 keynote address, where she was actually condemning corruption.
The ones that have swag, the Yahoo boys, as my son would say. These, in short, are the role models that they are looking at. These are the ones who reinforce negative societal behaviors and values. This is a travesty of an unfolding tragedy for us.
But maybe she has a point. After all, what has happened since she left office in 2015?
For me personally, Buhari is extremely corrupt. The only thing is that he doesn't dip his hand, but he's ready to take the proceeds from those who dip their hand.
There is fire on the mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is surrounding. I wake up in the morning, tell you what I see on my TV screen. I see the blood of an innocent child, and everybody's watching.
President Buhari failed so woefully. Tell me one thing that Buhari is doing that Jonathan didn't do. Buhari only was sent. He failed and he was given opportunity to fail again. So definitely he will add to that failure.
So we have a situation where we have Jonathan, like Buhari.
But at least we got Diezani, right? Or did we? Did we really?
It seems like she's gotten away with everything.
This woman is as slippery as an eel.
Please help us put pressure on the international community to return her, to extradite her back to Nigeria.
Look, people are working, and nobody is sleeping here.
Don't you think there's something wrong with this? Tell me.
I think that Diezani is chilling. People have largely forgotten about Diezani. She's happy in that and just happy to live her life with some of the money, that she may have gotten before or during her time as minister.
I will not be shocked if Diezani comes back to this country tomorrow and gets all her properties back. It may not be now, it may not be in the next 15 years, not the next week, but it is something that is very, very much possible.
Someone might decide, come up with a grand idea that, we need a Nigeria's first female president and it can be a woman. And people will defend, Nigerians will defend it.
In Nigeria, a villain can easily become a saint once again.
She's someone I hope that when she finally has her moments to tell the truth of how she has served, that Nigerians will see what I think I have seen about this enigma of a woman.
For there is fire on the mountain, and there is nobody, there is fire on the mountain, and no one is running. So there is fire.
Because in Nigeria, every day is for the thief. The owner? They have just been crushed to death by a trailer under the bridge in Ojuelegba, Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you.
Welcome to a new dispensation.
Is it your money?
Okay, boss. Nice.
Is it your money?
Ojukwu with the money.